Dirt track at Charlotte gave drivers a chance to really test their mettle, with George 20D10 in Chillin Villain taking his first racing championship, while Corey Fisher in Blacksmith stole the show in freestyle. Coming up is the channel's second appearance in Mount Pleasant, Michigan at Soaring Eagle Resort and Casino. Who will come out on top this time? This is the Rorsrps semi-realistic points series, and this is Monster Jam! Hello everybody and welcome back to the Rorsrps channel. My name is Preston Vieira and I'll be your host as we take on the massive floor here in Mount Pleasant for the second season in a row. The Indy Madness Tour is ready to get started tonight, but stay tuned until the end of freestyle to catch our next group of World Finals qualifiers. If you head out early or just want to know more about their performance this season, they'll be added to the Rorsrps.com lineup on our World Finals 2 page. Kicking off the night, let's get a look at our bracket, starting with our sub for tonight. Krmel in Scorcho taking on Dan Dahlgren in Iron Outlaw. Chillin Villain George 20D10 reigning racing champion taking on Colt Durham in Playing Crazy. Then it's Kaylin Mowry in Jailbird facing off against Bobby Holman in Shadow the Hedgehog. Jimmy Creten in Bounty Hunter is going to take on Chuckie Pauken in Excaliber. Then we got Jack Merkle in Vorian Prime taking on Darren Migues in Wolf's Head. Amsoil Shock Therapy Cole Pecka will face off against Matthew Hood in Rage. Jim Koehler in Megabyte is going to take on Corey Fisher in Blacksmith. Then to close out round one, it's Ed Eckert in Full Bore. Coming back after a substitution, he's going to be facing off against Dawson Rayas in Shake Me. Just took the overall championship at Charlotte. So we'll see how he does tonight. He seems to be in a zone to close out the season, but we'll see how he does here against a debuting sub, debuting driver and truck like Krmel in Scorcho, bringing it back for tonight's show and for season 2. He's going to be facing off against Dan Dahlgren in Iron Outlaw. Del Taco's Scorcho, of course, an unproven truck. We have not seen this truck at all this season. He is making his debut tonight as a substitute, looking to hopefully earn a second show with either a racing or freestyle championship, or potentially a double down, which is definitely necessary for this show and our next show on this tour if he wants to potentially knock out DD Live and the DD Phantom Protector, who is very much in the running for our sub qualifier into the World Finals. Scorcho could make something happen here, but it is pretty much locked in here tonight that DD Live will be our sub qualifier for this tour. Dan Dahlgren in Iron Outlaw, second to last right now in terms of overall standings on this tour. We'll see what happens as they face off here in round one. Going green, launching over that small roller. Big leap from Krmel in Scorcho that puts him behind early in this race. And through our first turn, looking good here for Krmel, now in the lead over Dan Dahlgren. This is the 2016 Monster Truck Throwdown track here in Mount Pleasant, so we'll see how these drivers do. We'll see if these new trucks can end up on top, or if trucks from 2016 and the past will end up coming out on top. As we head to the line, it looks like it's going to be Krmel and Del Taco's Scorcho heading on to round 2 tonight. For the first time this season, making his debut already, launching out of round 1. That is not necessarily uncommon for our substitutes, but definitely a step in the right direction. We'll see if he can make it up into the W final round, potentially taking a win and earning some points. That'll help him big time in the long run, whether it be for the last chance qualifier or a main field spot. George 20D10 in Chillin Villain coming out next on your right. He's going to face off against Colt Durham in Playing Crazy. 2 shows ago, Colt came out as the overall champion in the end of the night, taking second in both racing and freestyle. Tonight he wants to come out on top in racing, but just 1 show ago, George 20D10 on your right came out on top as our W Racing champion. He wants to do that again tonight, go back to back. Can he? We'll find out as we go green. Heading over the bus for the first time. Absolutely massive obstacles in the racing lanes, which we are not necessarily used to on this channel. We have especially this season, we have a lot more of a typical Monster Jam style of racing. Most of the time, aside from, of course, Charlotte and our other over-under tracks, we have relatively normal size racing jumps. Heading to the line, though, we're going to get some big air here, and it's a close race, but it's George 20D10 in Chillin Villain. Heading into round 2, one step closer to going back-to-back tonight. I am definitely keeping an eye on George 20D10 in these final couple shows. Without double downs, I don't think there's going to be a World Finals qualification for George, but he can have some excellent performances. We'll see what happens here. Kaylin Mowry in Jailbird's going to be on your right for this race. Bobby Holman in Shadow the Hedgehog is going to be on your left. Shadow, really not much of a racer throughout the season, going out most of the time in round 1, occasionally a round 2 appearance. We'll see if he can get a little bit better of a performance than usual tonight. Kaylin Mowry, a one-time Dubby Racing champion on your right. Of course, she wants to do that again tonight, but aside from that, she's been pretty solid all season. A lot of round 2 appearances, one final round with no win, one final round with a win, semifinals just 2 shows ago. She wants to get back there again, get a shot at that Dubby final round. Heading into our first turn, it's about neck and neck for these drivers, but we've just begun in this race. We'll see what happens as we get down to the finish line. Looks like Bobby Holman might be a little more controlled, potentially a slight lead, yes, as we hit that jammer there going up and over the bus. Can he hold it to the line is the question. A big slide from both of these drivers. Kaylin Mowry comes out on top towards the finish line. She is gonna hold it. Kaylin Mowry in Jailbird on to round 2 tonight, kicking off the night with a step in the right direction on the good foot for Kaylin Mowry, really hitting that gas pedal down that final straight, able to grip the truck up and get launched down that straightaway towards the finish line before Bobby Holman does. Jimmy Creten in Bounty Hunter, definitely looking to step up in the racing competition. A one-time finalist, one-time semi-finalist throughout the season. He wants to improve for these final 2 shows. Again, I don't know if he's really in the running for a World Finals qualification, but a double down or 2 could definitely help him jump up a lot in points. Double down worth 41 points, whereas a freestyle win on its own is only worth 20, and a racing win only worth 16. So you get 5 bonus points for taking both competitions in one night. Chuckie Pauken in Excaliber on your left, yet to take a championship in either competition. We'll see what happens tonight as we launch down the track for the first time with these 2. Jimmy Creten with an early lead heading into this first turn. Looks like Chuckie Pauken might be out wide, but he does make up the ground. A little bit of a slow turn from Jimmy Creten as we head into our second bus jump here. Big sky wheelie from Jimmy Creten, Chuckie Pauken as well, but it looks like Jimmy comes out with a lead through this first turn, or this final turn, excuse me. Over the roller and to the bus jump to the finish. Jimmy Creten in Bounty Hunter on to round 2 tonight. Definitely not uncommon from what we've seen from him throughout the season. Can he keep it pushing to the Dubby final round once again, potentially getting his first championship of the season? Another racing champion coming out here on your right, Jack Merkle in Vorian Prime. Took the racing championship in show 7, knocking out Colt Durham in Plain Krazy. On your left, his opponent, Darren Migues in Wolf's Head, back of the pack. I'm talking final spot in the overall points for this tour right now, only holding 53 points. Ending last show in Charlotte with a pretty decent overall performance. I just definitely want to see him improve a lot. Again, back of the pack, definitely not going to be in the World Finals this season, but Jack Merkle and Vorian Prime up towards the top. I think he's 3rd place right now. He definitely has a shot at that World Finals spot and potentially Tour Champion if he can get some double downs. We'll see what happens tonight as Darren Migues in Wolf's Head is already in the lead. He had a solid performance in racing last show, I believe. The first time he's been in the semifinals, the first time he's been out of round 1 as well. Around our final turn, it is Darren Migues with the lead to the line. Jack Merkle and Vorian Prime just not his night in the racing competition here tonight. Darren Migues on to round 2. Jack Merkle, definitely an upset there. Jack Merkle done here in round 1. We'll see what he can do in the freestyle competition later tonight, and if he can hold that 3rd place spot. Will potentially be our first qualifier one of our first batch of qualifiers, I should say. Cole, Pecka, and Amsoil Shock Therapy coming out next on your right. Our first overall champion on this tour. You knew that was coming. Matthew Hood in Rage on your left. Team Scream Driver definitely looking for some points tonight. He's way down towards the back of the pack, especially after a substitution 2 shows ago. He's looking to really make up some points tonight as usual. Again, I don't think a World Finals qualification is in the realm of reality here tonight for Matthew Hood, but we'll see what happens as we head into our first turn for this race. Matthew Hood, definitely a solid racer throughout the season, though. We have a few round 1 losses, a couple semifinals appearances, but he doesn't get past that. He is in the lead right now with a beautiful landing on the bus, one of the best we've seen tonight. That might put him over the edge and give him the edge in this race, and it does. Matthew Hood in Rage. On to round 2 tonight. Cole, Pecka, Amsoil Shock Therapy, just not his track out here. I don't know if it's the turns, the straightaways, what it is, but couple of upsets as far as, you know, who you would expect to win. Of course, Matthew Hood with the better racing performance, a solid racing performance, but overall the season in terms of points in general, Cole, Pecka I would have thought he had that, just to be honest here. Jim Koehler, Megabyte on your right, another Team Scream Driver, the Team Scream Driver, if I can reach that far. Corey Fisher in Blacksmith, reigning freestyle champion on your left, looking to get his first racing championship this season. He's definitely been improving in the second half of the season. Never made it out of round 1 until show 6. Since then, it's been round 1 losses. We'll see what he can do tonight if he can step it up a little bit, taking on a really tough driver, one-time racing champion, Jim Koehler in Megabyte. For our first turn, looks like a little bit of a struggle from Corey Fisher trying to get that truck pointed where he wants it to go. Jim Koehler, early lead in this race as we head over the bus. Beautiful landing from Jim Koehler as well. Corey Fisher not too bad, but it does look like he's behind as we head out of this final turn. No! Corey Fisher in the lead. He is going on to round 2 tonight, knocking out Jim Koehler, who was ahead the entire race until that final turn. Corey Fisher coming back from behind after that final turn. Wow. Again, another upset. I did not see that one coming. Corey Fisher beautifully done here in round 1. Ed Eckert in full bore coming to close out round 1, taking on Dawson Rayas in Shake Me. Dawson burned it down last show in Charlotte. Definitely a surprise, if I could say that. We did not see that coming. Made it up into the semifinals. He's only done that once before this season, and that was show 3, a straight line drag course. So I don't know what happened, but he's got a fire under him in the racing competition. We'll see what happens here tonight as he takes on Full Bore, who's made it up into the W final round once before as well. Launching down the track, Shake Me with the whole shot. Early lead in this race, and through the first turn, nice and tight. He's going to be the first one over this little gap we got here, starting the semifinal straightaway. Over the bus with a big lead on Ed Eckert right now. It doesn't look like Ed is going to make it happen. Big wide turn from Dawson, though. Tight from Ed Eckert, but it doesn't matter. Dawson Rayas is headed all over the place, but to the finish line in first. Dawson Rayas in Shake Me, knocking out Ed Eckert here in round 1. Definitely, I don't know if I could say that was an upset necessarily, but Dawson Rayas, again, stepping it up in the racing competition. Could it be his night? We're going to have to watch and see. If you're enjoying the racing competition so far, though, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We got new shows every Saturday, and the World Finals is coming up November 29th through December 1st. It's going to be a great competition. Also, check out the Rorsrps Instagram and rorsrps.com. We got a whole World Finals page over there dedicated to all things Rorsrps World Finals 2. Definitely check it out. Speaking of checking things out, let's check out our bracket for round 2. Del Scorcho is going to be taking on Chillin Villain. Jailbird will face off against Bounty Hunter. Wolf's Head is going to face off against Rage, and Blacksmith is going to be taking on Shake Me down at the bottom of the bracket. Interesting little race there at the back of the bracket because they pose next to each other. in in Charlotte's pit party. We got a picture of them going head-to-head. Tonight, they're actually going head-to-head. Scorcho coming out first to kick off round 2, though. He's on your right, taking on reigning racing champion George 20B10 in Chillin Villain. The long track did him well in Charlotte. A lot of turns over there. Managed to make it stick. Can he do it again tonight is the question. Taking on an unproven driver so far. He's 1-0. So we'll see what happens here. Launching off the starting line. Who will take it to the finish here in round 2? Del Taco with an early lead coming around our first turn. He's going to hold it into the second straightaway here. What is next? Who will come out on top? Ooh, an awkward hit for Del Taco's Del Scorcho. He's behind heading into this first turn, but he's much tighter than George 20B10. Down the track, it is very close, but Frank Krmel in the lead over the line. Frank Krmel and Del Scorcho knocks out George 20B10, no longer the reigning racing champion. Who will come out on top tonight? Definitely an interesting question as we move on throughout the bracket. Our next race, Kalen Mowry in Jailbird, could be the answer. Jimmy Creten and Bounty Hunter on your left. Two trucks that have had appearances in the Dubby final round once before. We'll see what happens here tonight. Jimmy Creten definitely, like I said, looking to get back up there. Of course, Kalen Mowry is as well, but with one racing championship under her belt, the Tour Championship far from her reach, anything could happen here in this race. She may be, not as hungry as Jimmy Creten, looking for his first racing championship. We'll see what happens. Both trucks getting staged here. We're staged, ready to go, and we are green. Keeping things rolling with round 2 very close so far off of the line. Kalen Mowry, a definite lead, though, heading into our first turn. And Jimmy Creten comes back through this straightaway. Again, very close so far. Jimmy Creten not getting any air on that jump, just a straight up sky wheelie that may slow him down. Kalen Mowry headed to the line with a generous lead on Jimmy Creten and Bounty Hunter, about a truck length. Kalen Mowry in Jailbird on to the semi-finals tonight. Jimmy Creten not going to make it stick, unfortunately. Just goes down early in this competition, relatively compared to Kalen Mowry. She's getting a shot at the final round. Can she make it there is the question. Darren Migues, her father, on your right in Wolf's Head, looking to make it up into the semifinals. Matthew Hood in Rage, looking to do the same thing. I don't know. I would bet on Matthew Hood, though, but Wolf's Head just made it to the semifinals in Charlotte, North Carolina. That was only one show ago. He hasn't been subbed out for a good chunk of the season now. Since show 5, he's been back really trying to make up the points. Is he going to do it tonight is the question. We'll find out here as we are staged, ready to go. Rage versus Wolf's Head. We're green and launching down the track. Over the line, it is Matthew Hood with the whole shot here. Who's going to head out of this turn first? Looks like Matthew Hood does end up in the lead still. Darren Migues all over the place, crooked like we saw from Del Scorcho. It's gonna be Matthew Hood into the final turn first and headed down the straightaway. Matthew Hood in Rage is gonna be into the semi-finals yet again this season. Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3. This is the 3rd time this season that he's been in the semifinals. Is tonight the night that he makes it out of the semifinals and into the Dubby final round? Very good question. Now here's a race that could go either way. Corey Fisher in Blacksmith coming out on your right. Dawson Rayas in Shake Me on your left. Either way we go here, one of these drivers could make it into the finals. That would be their first appearance in the Dubby final round. Shane Lake came very close in Charlotte, North Carolina, burned it down in racing, but just didn't have the performance he needed in the semis. He wants another shot at that here tonight. This would be Corey Fisher's first time in the semifinals. He's only been out in round 2 so far this season, so we'll see if he can make it stick here tonight. In Mount Pleasant, launching off the starting line, who's going to take it into the first turn? Looks like Dawson may have come back a little bit over the line there. This semifinal straightaway could be a decision maker in this race. We just have to watch and see. This jump, definitely a decision maker. Beautiful jump from Dawson Rayas. He is in the lead heading around this final turn. Corey Fisher is tighter, but again, it does not matter. Dawson Rayas in Shake Me over the line first into the semi-finals tonight. What a race there from Dawson, looking good out here on this track. Dare I say, could be his night. We got a couple drivers that seem to be liking this track. Frank Krmel, one of them, our sub for the night. Let's get a look at this semi-final bracket here. Scorcho is going to be taking on Jailbird, and Rage is going to be facing off against Shake Me. I think we got a couple of great races here in the semifinals. Again, Scorcho, Frank Krmel, an unproven racer on this channel on this season. We'll see what happens here as he takes on Kaylin Mowry, a one-time Dubby Racing champion from Arizona. That was a lot smaller of a track. We'll see if she can bring that here tonight. She did do well in the straight line racing of Show 3, made it up into the final round, losing to DD Fandom Protector. Again, this is Frank Krmel's shot at knocking out DD Live and the DD Fandom Protector from that top spot. He needs 2 double downs. Can he do it as we launch off of the starting line? Into our first turn, Kaylin Mowry getting tucked in really early. That slows her down on the exit. It's neck and neck, kicking off this semifinal straight. Over the bus, Kaylin Mowry with the lead still. Around the turn we go. Very tight from Frank Krmel. It is close, but Frank has the lead coming out of it. Over the line. Wow. The officials say Frank Krmel and Scorcho is the winner. They have the technology to check back. We do not. Here in the commentator's booth, that is Frank Krmel and Scorcho. On to the Dubby final round tonight. Wow. Matthew Hood in Rage coming out next on your right. He's going to be facing off against Dawson Rayas in Shake Me. Both of these drivers have had appearances in the semifinals once before. The pressure not new to either one of these drivers, but again, not super common. One additional appearance to Matthew Hood. We'll see what happens here as we launch off of the starting line, looking for our final Dubby finalists. Through the turn, looking good for both of these drivers. A big slide from Matthew Hood. Dawson Rayas, early lead in Shake Me. All over the place through the straight there, missing that jump a little bit. Matthew Hood seems to have caught up. He's out wide in that final turn. Is it gonna matter? It is. Very close here to the line though. Oh my goodness, another incredibly close race there. Dawson Rayas in Shake Me though is on to the Dubby final round for the first time this season. Dawson Rayas, Shake Me, getting a shot at that Dubby Championship in the racing competition. Frank Krmel in Scorcho is going to be taking on Dawson Rayas in Shake Me for the Dubby Racing Championship here in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. I'm definitely looking forward to what's about to happen. Frank Krmel and Scorcho is going to be on your right. Dawson Rayas in Shake Me on your left. This is definitely an energizing final round. And if you want to get energized like this on a day-to-day, you can check out Dubby Energy at dubby.gg. Use code RORSRPS at checkout for 10% off. They have some absolutely delicious flavors. You do not want to miss their limited time flavors, Purple Dub Sauce and Grandpa's Denture Water. They sound absolutely delicious. I can't attest to the actual flavors, but Purple Dub Sauce is a passion fruit flavor, and Grandpa's Denture Water is a mango dragon fruit flavor, and they both sound delicious to me. They also have some really great caffeine-free hydration blends. Check them out, guys. They give you focus and energy without the jitters or crash. They have 0 sugar, fillers, or artificial dyes, and 0 calories, which make them the health-conscious choice for energy powders. But We're staged and ready to go for the Dubby final round. We are green and launching down the track. For the final time tonight, Shake Me with the hole shot on Frank Krmel right now, heading around our first turn. And he is just expanding his lead right now. Frank Krmel with his worst turn of the night there in that first one. Sloppy landing there too. Dawson Rayas with the lead through the final turn. Frank Krmel taking it tight, but it's not going to matter. Dawson Rayas in Shake Me over the line with the lead. And taking his first Dubby Racing Championship of the season as Frank Krmel lets the truck roll over. Trying to steal a little bit of thunder here after the finish line, but it is all Dawson Rayas tonight in the racing competition on go from the beginning. Managing to make this his first championship in the racing competition all season long. Beautifully done. It was his night, man. It was his night. Beautiful laps, beautiful passes from Dawson Rayas tonight, and he is going to celebrate this with a big leap here. Look at this. Definitely need to be careful on the landing there. You don't want to get hung up on one of those center cars, those division cars there. But Dawson parking it up on the buses. Let's get a look at this Shake Me truck before we check out our points adjusted with this racing competition in mind. Beautifully done. Dawson Rayas in Shake Me, your Dubby Racing champion tonight. And he is also holding on to that tour lead with 168 points. Jim Koehler with 139, Jack Merkle Vorian Prime with 130, and Ed Eckert in full bore with 121. A tie here with Jailbird and Amsoil Shock Therapy, 98 each. Blacksmith, Corey Fisher, 96, and Colt Durham with 92. 83 for Bobby Holman, Shadow the Hedgehog. Another tie with 81 points. Bounty Hunter, Jimmy Creten, and Chuckie Pauken and Excaliber. And Dan Dahlgren with 69 points. 68 ends up the total for Rage heading into freestyle. Then it's George 20v10 with 63. Darren Migues with 55. And Frank Krmel kicking off his night with a very respectable 12 points. Beautifully done from Frank Krmel. But if you guys enjoyed tonight's racing competition, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We got new shows every Saturday. You do not want to miss the rest of the season or the World Finals coming November 29th through December 1st. It's going to be an awesome 3 nights of competition. We got qualifying, last chance, racing, two-wheel, and freestyle. It's going to be crazy, guys. Check out the RORSRPS Instagram to place your votes for two-wheel skills competitors. It is all 100% fan voted off of trucks featured this season. Check out the channel partner Dubby Energy for some clean, jitterless energy that gives you focus and energy without jitters and crash. No sugar, no fillers, no dyes, no calories. And you can get 10% off using code RORSRPS at checkout. They also have some delicious hydration flavors. My flavor today is Beach and Peach Mango White Peach Cooler. Absolutely delicious. Check it out, guys. Stick around for freestyle. We'll be announcing our first batch of Indy Madness World Finals qualifiers in just a minute. I'll see you guys over there.